With that, I'd like to recognize the subcommittee chairman, Mr. LoBiondo, for a statement.
Good morning. Thank you, Chairman Schuster. As was referenced, over the last 2 years, Subcommittee on Aviation has held more than 180 listening sessions, roundtables, hearings on the state of the nation's air traffic control system, with stakeholders identifying the perpetual challenges the FAA has faced in modernizing the national airspace system. And as the chairman noticed, while we currently enjoy the safest air traffic control system in the world, it is no longer or anywhere close to the most efficient. Excuse me. The FAA has been attempting to modernize our safe yet antiquated ATC system since President Reagan's first year in office. Since that time, the DOT Office of Inspector General, the Government Accountability Office, and numerous bipartisan federal airline commissions found that the FAA's progress with delivering planned next-gen capabilities has been plagued by significant delays, cost increases, and absence of promised benefits to the traveling public and industry stakeholders. In testimony before the subcommittee in 2014, DOT Inspector General Scoville warned that the next-gen implementation cost for government and industry, and this is the stuff that sort of makes your hair catch fire and your eyes pop out, initially estimated at $20 billion for each, could double or triple. So we're talking about possibly $40 or $60 billion. And that next-gen implementation may take an additional decade. That's what's at stake here. Since 1981, we've invested over $70 billion in taxpayer money to the air traffic control modernization, and yet we're still using essentially the same air traffic control system, which is based on World War II era technology, after $70 billion. While stakeholders unanimously support NextGen, they have been unable to agree on how to address these well-documented implementation obstacles. As Chairman Schuster has stated, the committee has a historic opportunity to drive the transformational change needed to ensure that we have the very best ATC system in the world. 3 years of federal budget disputes led the FAA decision in 2013 to furlough 10% of its air traffic control workforce and nearly close 149 contract towers to meet sequester-driven budgetary cuts. According to a December 2015 report by GAO, budget uncertainty has also contributed to next-gen delays and cost overruns. Continued delays resulting from sequestration, employee furloughs, unpredictable continuing resolutions, and government shutdowns have had a devastating impact on the FAA's ability to achieve transformational results. Only 2 months ago, we were voting here again to keep the government open while the FAA, many of my constituents, more than 3,000, working at its technical center in my district, were forced to make preparations in the event they needed to shelve the projects and be ready for a shutdown. That is why the AIR Act, we work to ensure that critical projects and safety in the skies continued without interruption. Included in the bill, Section 241 will empower rather than stifle the employees involved in ATC modernization, particularly those at the FAA Tech Center. It will allow the corporation to utilize the resources and extensive institutional expertise of the employees of the Tech Center to improve upon the already sterling safety record that we have all come to expect. We're the only developed country whose ATC system can be a political football, frequently held hostage to federal budget disputes like the sequester, which threaten not only the ongoing operations of the system, but also the successful implementation of NextGen. Unless the ATC reforms in the AIR Act are enacted, we risk failure in delivering NextGen as it was promised to the traveling public. I look forward to hearing from our witnesses on how the ATC reforms included in the AIR Act will ensure we have the safest, most efficient, modernized air traffic control system in the world. And thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity.